Hello. One of these days I'll get the timing right on that intro music. So how are you all keeping on this fine summer's evening? Yeah, summer's been a long time getting going, hasn't it? There's a bit of sunshine out there at the moment, but it's not too bad. You can see it through the crack in the what do you call it? The blinds there. Can you hear me? I think I'm okay for sound. Let me just turn down that decibels on that microphone for a second. Yeah, how are things? Anybody there? I think there are people there. I'm just going to have a look on my doings. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So yes, this is my final week before a little break. So a break from teaching live, in class. I'm going to have to find a way. I will be doing another live stream, of course. So I need to keep that going. You can't really sort of not do it. So I'll be keeping going with that in one form or another. Yeah, so my sort of in-person teaching classes have just sort of reached a bit of a break for me. So I've got one more week to do in the beginning of August, and then I start again in the proper terms, 6-week terms in September. Oh, Ivor, how are you doing? You're looking well. I always say that, don't I? But yes, the sound is good, is it? Okay, good. So that's excellent. So how are you keeping? Have you been doing any painting? I mean, I haven't been doing very much myself apart from the demonstrations. I did a live stream which you kind of turned up to, didn't you, Ivor, for a bit. I enjoyed that, actually. I thought it was kind of nice, especially interacting with people. I think there was one guy in Canada, wasn't there, and another person in somewhere else exotic. Yeah. So, all right, that's good. All right, so yeah, just wait for another couple of seconds for anyone else to sort of to straggle in before I start. All week I've been sort of channeling my inner Paul Henry, I suppose. So getting away from the pointillism sort of broken color thing and doing a little bit kind of, I don't know, we call it plainer. It isn't really plain. Hey, Barbara, how are you doing? Yeah, so I was just saying to Ivor, I've been channeling my inner Paul Henry this week. So that's what I'm going to do this week, for this demonstration here, is sort of a painting in that kind of style. So not pointillism, not broken color. I was searching for the word to describe it. It's not plain. It certainly isn't plain what Paul Henry did, but it's not quite as it's not broken like the you know, for example, Seurat and Van Gogh and people like that. But it's still definitely impressionist, what he was doing with, especially I've been looking at the monumental clouds and everything. So Ivor, you're afraid to pick up a brush. Yeah, you gotta stop thinking like that. And I think like that as well. One of my bosses told me there's nothing to do with painting. He says to me in the printing trade, he says, "You don't like to make mistakes, do you?" Because I just sort of barefacedly sort of denied that I was doing something wrong right in front of him, and you could see that I was doing something wrong. I was young. I needed the money, but yeah, it's a common thing. People don't want to make mistakes because they don't want to be ridiculed, I suppose. But keep your paintings to yourself, you know, until you're sort of sure of them, and then you won't have anybody sort of looking over your shoulder, will you? That's maybe one way around it. Another one is just to sort of develop a thick skin. Paint in public, actually, that might help, because you'd need a thick skin to do that. But it's really good for you. And most people, in my experience, when they come up to you, most people, 95% of people, are impressed that you're there at all, and impressed at what you're doing, you know, even the work that you're producing, even if you don't like it. And it's only just one or two people who will come up to you and say something sort of monumentally stupid, like, you know, is it a man on a bicycle? You know, when you're painting a canal or something like that, you know. Because I don't know why they do it. Pick it up from their parents, I think. Badly brought up. Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, keep at it, and don't worry about your mistakes. I make loads of mistakes every time I pick up a brush myself. Most people don't like what they do. I see it every time at the class. People go around looking at other people's paintings, saying that, oh, yours is much better than mine and everything. And it isn't. It's just different. You're sketching at Dublin Castle, yeah. I've got some nice results. Yeah, great. Well, glad to hear it. I haven't done very much sketching at all myself, and I need to get back into it. So I'm as bad as anyone else. And what about you, Barbara? How are you getting on down there in the deepest countryside? Yeah. So look, we'll get going. And I've got a terrible sort of pain in my back from using the computer too much, kind of is affecting my left arm and everything like that. So I'm trying to do some exercises to loosen up. Let me see. So what I'm going to paint today, okay, is this, okay? So that is Achill, all right? So the very, very west of Ireland, and this beautiful country of ours. And next stop, America, isn't it? So, and to be honest, it's really another dull photograph, isn't it? Because most photographs are actually dull, especially when they're taken by somebody like me. You know, I just use my phone to take my reference photographs, and you've got to make something more of it. And I like what Paul Henry did with his paintings. You're painting brilliantly, Barbara. That's great. Of course you are. You always were brilliant. Now let's have a look. Ah, how cute, Martin. How are you doing? Nice to see you in again. We're painting the west of Ireland, okay? So that's Achill, which is, I suppose it's Mayo, isn't it? The very west of Mayo, Achill Island. Okay, so that's a view from there. And I was just saying to the others, it's kind of a dull photograph because, you know, photographs tend to be too realistic. It might have been a cold day, despite the blue sky. I don't know. I don't know why photographs come out looking uninspiring, but they do, and I really couldn't tell you. It's amazing. Anyway, it's our job as painters to make things more interesting, isn't it? So that's what I'm painting. That's what I'm using. Okay, so those are the colours. The usual suspects. Let me put them in order. I always like to have them in order. There. That's the order in which I put them out. And let's get going. What am I going to paint with are these brushes here. Okay. So that one's about an inch, or less, 3/4 of an inch. a short flat bright. What's this one? Doesn't even say what number it is, but it's a filbert, then a smaller filbert, and then I've got this very small short flat bright here. Okay, all right, so around that way. There's my solvent. Drinks on the veranda afterwards. Right, and so let me move on to the canvas. There you go, there's my canvas. It's a white surface today, and what I'm going to do is put on, oh shit, what am I doing? I've got my paints on the palette yet. Daft bugger. Let me put that. So, put the white out there. Yeah, Griffin alkyds. I kind of like them. I like the way they start setting sort of during the painting. It's I think it helps me anyway. There's the cadmium yellow pale hue, permanent rose, cobalt blue. Put quite a lot of that on. I'm just going to put a touch of ivory black because it's on my beginner's palette. But this is what I call the McSherry palette, which is really just aimed at beginners. But it's a very good palette for achieving the widest gamut possible of paintings. Hey Miles, how are you doing? I'm going to put that last one is burnt sienna. Okay, so there you go. I've got the whole bunch, kit and caboodle, that I need there. And really, if you were sort of in extremis and you were caught out in the wilds, and you only had those four colours there, the white, the yellow, the red and the blue, you could get by with those, okay? So really you could reduce it down to that many. I use the burnt umber for making darks and doing a drawing and everything like that, but you needn't use it. And you can make up a similar mix from these, really. But you can't tell beginners that anyway. So it's for experienced painters. There we go. And do ask questions along the way. Oh, you just let me see what you're saying there, Martin. Just trying myself, but you're there. The difference between cadmium yellow hue and straight cadmium yellow. Cadmium. I wish they wouldn't call it pale. They shouldn't put the word pale in there, I think. And in fact, let me have a read of it. Let me see where that is. Right. Okay. So, in fact, in Griffin, they've named it better than this is the alkyd version of the Winton colours. Okay, so it's just a little bit better quality, and it's an alkyd. The Winton one, they call it cadmium yellow pale hue, and I think that's a kind of a misnomer because it's not pale, it's bright. And so what you're talking about is probably, I would imagine, cadmium yellow medium. I don't have one with me. And cadmium yellow medium is just, it's leaning towards red a bit more. My yellow is almost as bright a yellow as you can get. I'm just looking at your question. Hue, the word hue, in fact it's here as well. The word hue just means it's a synthetic pigment. I think I'm pretty sure that's what it means, okay? Because cadmium, actual cadmium salts are very expensive and they're also toxic. And you probably would get, I mean, you definitely would get real cadmium in, for example, Old Holland paints or you know, I don't know, name any of the really good brands, I suppose. But here we've got that hue, which is, as far as I know, synthetic. Okay. Yes, I believe that last part answered your question more accurately than the one about the you know, the darker hue. Yeah. Hue just means color. I suppose they've just got a way of, they wanted a way of explaining what it is without saying that it's synthetic, you know, because then people will get their backs up because they don't want something synthetic. I don't mind because it's not going to kill me. It's not for nothing they got rid of lead white, flake white paint, you know. So I'm going to, oh, sorry, I started painting then. Oh, Miles, I didn't see that. Given a set of Griffin alkyds a couple of years ago. They're still in the box unopened, yeah. I reckon if it's only a couple of years ago, they'd be usable. Give it a go, yeah. What they do is they set more quickly. That's the thing. But you know, by the next day, you wouldn't be able to move the paint around. That's for sure. Unlike probably a regular oil painting. Right. Sorry, I started doing that wash without changing my camera. There you go. So I'm doing a burnt sienna wash. You know, and it's quite dilute. There's quite a lot of solvent in it, just to help it move around. Just cover that area quickly. And I was just saying to my students all week that whenever you go out to paint, you know, en plein air, you should have a plan, like before you arrive at your destination, because it almost doesn't matter what the destination is, or indeed if it's a still life or a portrait, you have a plan. You know, the plan might be, I'm going to paint this in a pointillistic style, or I'm going to paint it in just vertical strokes, or in greys, or in vibrant colours, or the wrong colours. You know, that's it. Or I'm going to pay no respect to perspective at all. You know, those are your sort of concepts, your plans. Gosh, that is very, very bright. I think I'm going to see if I can turn down the vibrancy of that. It's far too vibrant. Hang on, just give me a second there, lads. That would be the vibrance, white balance, saturation. God, what a palaver. White balance, I think. Oh, saturation. There we go. Let's see what that does. That looks a bit more like it should be. Oh, here, hang on. There's me hand. Okay, that'll do. Save that. Okay. Right, good. So what I'm going to do is you've got the picture up there. You can see it there. So I'm going to paint a version of this scene that's in front of us. I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to bring the sky down, because one of the lovely things about in the west of Ireland is are the skies. And it's Ireland's big sky country, I suppose, like the Americans say. You know. Let me just grab. We'll do a bit of a drawing. Do you know what I need to do? Hold on for a second. Give me a moment there. Finishing design. Ah, yes. Okay, got it now. Up there. There. And this other headland coming there, which is closer to us. Yeah, I was looking at a lot of Henry's stuff this week, and he really was, you know, for me, just an impressionist. But he managed to sort of develop a kind of a language, visual language, that suited Ireland rather than Provence or something like all the other painters were painting. It's quite sort of impressive, I think, that he made Ireland look like Ireland. Yeah, of course, but it sort of in a suite of colours that suited the landscape. So that kind of comes down in vaguely in a triangle there like that. I'm going to put that darker spit of rock coming out to about there. Okay, so I think that's my drawing. All the clouds are going to go up there like that. That's fine. Okay, so I'm going to block in from that. I'll make sure I keep an eye on the chat. Yeah, I hope that helped you, Martin. It's like, I mean, you could spend an absolute fortune on tubes of paint. You know, some of them are extremely expensive, like 60 or 70 euro for a small tube of paint, and it just simply doesn't sort of work for me. So I'm going to put in my darks first. Okay, so let's grab some blue and some burnt sienna. It's going to get these darks in, so it'll give me an idea of where I am, like the bones of the painting. Some darks in there, coming out to sea there. Usual things apply. Give the impression that we're stuck on the side of a cliff, standing there with our en plein air pochade box painting. The wind in our long flowing hair. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is make up a mix. The general hue of this painting is it's kind of blues, really. So I need something to differentiate the painting from, or that part of the painting from the others. So I'm going to do it kind of reds around here for the rocks. Not that kind of, I don't know, slightly sort of pallid looking greenish grey, really, sort of on the rocks there. I don't want that. I need to make this painting sort of have its own character, you know, and a character that you'd want to have to be with, you know, to look at. So I'm going to grab and make an orange, put a bit of blue into it. So kind of an orangey grey, I think. Okay, and I'm just going to mass that in there, across the top of that part there. Okay, and that's that bit. The next thing is I'm going to put in that spit of green field coming down there towards the sea. So blue, excuse me, and blue and yellow. Put a bit of red into it to make it more natural, more yellow. Put that across there like that, up there, down to the sea. Okay, above that, there's an interesting thing there, is that body of land behind the green part is it's further away, slightly distant looking, and I am going to make that into a kind of a bit of a dark blue, I think. We'll see what happens. Okay. on there. Because in a painting, you're telling a story. You're not taking a photograph. Okay, I've got that there. Next thing I'm going to do is the sea. So blue plus white, cobalt blue plus white. Make sure I've got enough. Cobalt blue plus white. I think plus a little bit of yellow. And a little bit of red. See what that does. Okay, and that means I can mass that in there. All across there like that. In a big block. The thing about alkyds, actually, Miles, if you've been given a bunch, they will be good. I'm pretty sure that those, because they're unopened, will still be good. But if you do leave them a couple of years longer, they might go hard in the tube. I suppose if air gets to them as well, unlike regular oils. So now I'm going to do that distant mountain, okay? And I want to do that in a blue. A lighter blue. Add a bit of red to that. And a bit of white. Okay. I'm just going to leave that little bit there because I want to put a kind of a manila color in there. So there's one part of the there, right, okay. There's my mountain beyond. And now the sky. The sky for me is in two parts. There's a kind of a blue, a light blue at the top, and then a pink part, so as it goes towards the horizon, in general terms. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to that blue. Make sure I make enough. There's a very light blue with a bit of yellow, so it's a slightly greenish lighting, greenish colour. There's a big block, and now I'm thinking about how my clouds are going to look, because the clouds that are actually there, I'm not going to paint them like that, because if you were there, they'd be moving all over the place. That's not bad. They'd be moving across the sky very fast, I think. Let me put in something down there too. So that's all a big block. I have to peer around my camera. Right. So is that the painting completely blocked in? No, not quite, because I want to do the those pinky areas. Okay, so white plus yellow plus red. Yes, you're. It's a good thing, I think, to be taken out of your comfort zone in terms of color. So, yeah, just do what you can. Play with them. there. Sculpt my headland back a bit. Yeah, okay, so I've got some sky down there now. So that's all blocked in. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is go back into my the rocky area in the foreground. I'm going to make up a shadow version of that rock color. So blue is basically a grey, so all the colors plus white. And put in some shaded sort of areas there. So this is just a kind of a chaos of strokes is what I'm aiming for here. So instead of painting those actual rocks, I'm just painting rocks. Yeah. Okay, got that lot there, and even in there. We move on. Make up a lighter mix now of that manila coloured for the rocks. I'm going to put some of those in. Over there. Dabs. Okay. I'm going to move over to my mountain now, and I'm going to grab some of that mountain colour, and I'm going to mix a little bit of blue, red and yellow into it, but make sure it's distant. And I'm going to put in some indication of the light. The light's coming from the west, from the left. So put in indications that their light is hitting those mountains. It's very subtle. I'm not sure if you can even. I think you can see it on the screen. I'm just looking at my screen. So that's aerial perspective, isn't it? So it's things getting paler as they recede from us. Right. Now I'm going to do that that larger mass just slightly closer to us. Okay, so my strokes are still fairly big. This cliff edge comes down like that. And there too. And I'm going to mix up mix some red into that green that I had. And I'm going to put some subtleties in here as well, so, but without getting into detail. I'm going to close that up, that gap there. That can come up a little bit. Okay, so that's more or less done. I'm going to put some subtleties into that green strip. I'm going to mix a bit of white into that green to make it pale. And if I can go here like that. But I'm not going to get rid of that dark green entirely. Yeah. Just want some undulations in the land, I suppose. And then I'm going to go back to the rocks. And I need some darks in there, so burnt umber and blue. I'm going to sort of start describing fissures in the rocks a little bit. They're kind of random patterns. Across the top of this one here. As it comes down to meet the water. I'm not going to do those little rocks sticking out of the water until the very end. I often wonder whether, I'm pretty sure that Paul Henry would have been taking these studies back to his studio to finish the work in the studio. I think they're quite big, some of those paintings. Just giving the impression of that fissures in those rocks. Okay, all right. Now, back into the sky. Make sure I've got the right part here. Get some blue. I'm going to mix a little bit of red into the blue as well, just to make a slightly different. Because I still like to do the kind of mottled sort of sky. How do you say, the multicolored sky? But it's just that in this painting, I want it to be. I don't want it to be so obvious. So it's a greeny blue, and I'm just adding in a sort of reddy blue in places just to make it more interesting. Okay. And there too. Let's shape those hills a little bit. I intend to take a trip to the UK later on this year. I'd love to do some painting there. It'll be the southwest, I think. Southwest down, maybe the South Downs and all that kind of stuff. Hang on. Okay. Now I want the sky to become lighter as it comes towards the horizon. So let's put some yellow and white into that sky mix here. And have a gradation going upwards. And here too. And I can shape that bit of land there. Bring that down there. Okay, there's that. Now, I think I might start thinking about my clouds and how I want those to look. So I'm going to mix up a kind of I suppose kind of a grey, really. A bluey grey. I wanted these monumental clouds. I think that's the nice story that Paul Henry was fond of telling. He was an American, kind of fetched up in Ireland, and used to do a lot of travel posters. Well, these railway posters, of the day, really good. So I suppose then he was something of an illustrator, which kind of endears him to me, because I went through that route as well. So let's put some darks in there. Okay, and now let's make up a kind of ochre-y kind of mix. So yellow, red, white, and a bit of blue, touch of blue. We do another layer of clouds. You know, the aim really to have a dramatic scene, which, to be honest, is probably what you're likely to get if you go to Achill, rather than clear skies and sunshine. Up there like that. Bruised skies. Even that one there for me. And no pure white. Even gets in dark skies down there. And now some monumental cumulonimbus. I'm going to try and let the clouds suggest themselves to me. So clouds in front of clouds in front of clouds in front of clouds. Okay. Up there and even there. Piled on top of each other. And then I'm going to add some white into that. That light ochre mix. I have some coming down there. And there. Some of the colours going into each other. It looks as if a nuclear bomb has gone off in the nearby Connemara. Okay, to the sea. Blue plus a little bit of red plus a bit of white. Okay, I'm gonna start working on a bit of variation in the water. I'm going to darken it towards the the far away part. And there are variations. As I suppose what you're looking at, what would it be? I suppose it would be the tides, and they cause different areas of the water to look different. Okay, got that. Let's shape this rock a little bit. There, and that can come up there, complete the sea into there. Okay, that'll do. Okay, so now we've got some sea. Back into the rocks, I think. I mean, my brush is getting smaller now. My dabs are getting smaller. So let me grab some blue and burnt sienna again. And now I can start adding stuff at the water's edge. Hang on. Give a bit of a direction. When you look at rocks by the sea, all these exposed rocks, they've always got kind of a directional sort of element to them, as if they all sort of formed in the same direction, which I suppose is what would happen, isn't it? I'm going to raise that one up a little bit. I want that rock to be a bit less even looking. There. And back in with some different hues. Push that up. Don't want to over describe things. Okay, I'm going to put in a bit more yellow into that green, for that green strip. Put a bit of red into that as well, and I'm going to put in some variations coming down to the water. And even there, for example. Now, that headland behind, I'm going to lighten it somewhat, and maybe make it slightly greener, but I don't want to make it too green. Oh, that might do it. So it's still slightly blue and faded away into the distance. And there's some stuff going on in that part there. And across there, let that come up. I'm going to grab some white, put it into that. And change this. No, don't want it like that. Coming down to the sea there. Another one there. Across there. And that's it. And then there's a dark coming down there like that. Okay, back to the sky. I want to fill in that. I've just put my elbow into the paint. That's nice. There we go. I'm going to shape these so to make them more like they're supposed to. There, coming across there, down. And now shape the land back. So coming in from the other side. From the mountain side there. Shape that down there like that. Coming down to the water's edge. And even there. Okay. Push that out. Needs a bit more. Now I want to lose the edge on that because it's far away. I don't want it to be sharp in contrast. I'm going to lose the edge as if the wind is blowing the moisture over the top of the mountain. Lose that edge. Make it less distinct. Complete that part there. Back into the clouds. I want to slightly kind of delineate some of those clouds. Make them more dramatic. Going darker as the least amount of light is getting in. Down here. There's a storm out to sea. When I was learning Irish in London, believe it or not, a teacher was quoting the people who fished for a living out in the west of Ireland. They didn't, and I'm sure it was the same everywhere. They didn't like to learn to swim because it would just prolong the agony if they were shipwrecked. So they didn't want to learn to swim. But one of them was quoted as saying that, and it's translation from the Irish. Some of us do be falling into holes in the sea, and some of us do be drowning. Darken that around there. Here we are. See, you even get an Irish lesson in this demonstration. Okay. Hello, Star Candy. How are you? I'm going to start doing some of the, I don't know what you call it, the foam, I suppose, the foam that's crashing in. I'm going to start out with a kind of a light blue. And even that can come down here as well. There's lots of that going on here and here. Star Candy, you came in late, so I was just explaining. I've been following, or I've been studying a painter, you know, who painted Irish scenes in the 19th century, and he was actually American, called Paul Henry. I think he was American. That's in my head that he was American. Pretty sure he was. Oh God, yeah. Well, I've finished work. I'm officially on holiday now. I'm on a vacation. So I'm doing all these little sort of reasonably sort of, I don't know what you call it, heavy strokes for the foam. And now I'm going to grab some white. This is really the only circumstance where I'd use pure white. And I load the brush and just leave the paint on rather than brushing it on. And here. Little white horses. Isn't that what they call them? PM. How are you doing? I hope you're all keeping well. So, even in here. Okay, now what do I want to do? I just want to sort of make more of some of those clouds, actually. Even put a little bit of green down here. Multicolored skies, even though they look stormy, they can still be beautiful. Close that up. And now I'm even going to do a little bit more on the sky. A slightly greenish sky. Paul Henry was renowned for doing these monumental skies, monumental clouds. They're stacked up on top. They're almost solid. They almost felt as if they fell on you, you'd get hurt. They're so voluminous. Let me put in a little bit more white on that. And now a pure cobalt blue and white mix. So the sky still kind of scintillates like a Monet kind of sky, but more subtly, I suppose. I shouldn't say that really. Monet was very subtle, but you know what I mean. Maybe I should say Van Gogh or something like that. I need a little bit of change, or a little bit of variation in these clouds here. Okay, so let me get a blue-grey put in some dabs around here just to make sure that there's enough of information to make it into an optical illusion, you know, the optical illusion of solid objects, in that kind of way, turning in and out of the light. Let's grab some of this blue here. I'm going to darken the horizon line. Yeah. So once again, it's the blocks that have done all the heavy lifting in the painting. Everything else is just sort of details on top. Oh yes, I was going to do those little submerged rocks, wasn't I? They can go in there. I'm not going to over describe them either. I read somewhere once, you'd have to look it up yourselves, that the mountains in Ireland, the geology of it all continues all through the Atlantic and rises again in Appalachia. But you'll have to look that up yourself to verify that as a fact or not. These have got their own commotion going on around them. And I'm just going to do something with the top of the mountain here. There, like that. I'm croaking here because I'm leaning forward and I'm supporting my own hand as I reach around this bloody webcam. Oh, I've gone quiet again, haven't I? Some details on there. I'm making stuff up now because for a start my head is sort of crooked around a corner, so there must be an easier way to set the cameras up than this. Lose that definition there as the white water sprays up a little bit. Right, so let me do something here. Where am I? Hello, hang on, I'm going to grab this off the support. Right, chuck that in the bin. There. How do I get this right? There. Try and get it so that you can see it. So that, the west of Ireland. Go and visit. There's an Airbnb just there, just on top of that point. Mrs. McCluskey. Here you go. All right, so that is my demonstration for today. Can I put that on there? Would you see it? I wonder how it looks under the other camera. Let me just change that. Does it make any difference? Oh, hang on. Do you know, if I move the palette away, this palette is heavy actually. There. Actually, that's not a bad representation. Miles, you're on the edge of Bodmin Moor. My God. What are you doing there? Daphne du Maurier, yeah, that's right. Let me just check out this. What a wonderful place to be. Yeah. Yes, do visit. Me and my studio, we're on the absolute opposite end of the opposite side of the country. So this is once you get off here, off the edge of that, next stop, New York. So yeah, where else? Where else is everybody? PM, where are you? You're not in. Where's Le Carre country? John Le Carre, I presume you're referring to. Where was he from? Yes, painting life into the photograph. That's it, yeah. Amp up the colours, change the colours to suit your own style. Oh, you're in Ontario, right, okay. Yeah. There's another country that I always wanted to visit, was Canada, and I haven't bloody had the wherewithal to go yet, yeah. Oh, hang on a minute, you're just chucking a load of random names at me now. Cornwall. Listen, Star Candy, you have a lovely day at work. Don't work too hard, and escape to the west of Ireland when you get back. There's nice references you can get on Unsplash and Pixabay and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, yeah, great names. Star Candy. Yeah, yeah. So any does that prompt any questions? I'm going to bring my my en plein air painting set with me. Actually, I'll show you what I've got, because I used to bring one of these around with me, you know, adapted to fit on top of a tripod. But since I've because I'll be going on my motorbike, I can't paint in oils because it'll just get everywhere. So I made this thing here. See that there? So it's got a little lip on it there. And here, see, that's the that fits into the photographer's easel that I got. I got a lightweight one. And you can buy one of these on the internet. They used to see more of them, but I'll try and source one, and I'll do a video maybe just on how I made this. You can buy those on the internet. That cost me 15 quid at one point. I just sort of basically cobbled this together so it can fit underneath the seat of my my motorbike and bring it around with me. So that's it. That'll sit on top of the tripod like that, being held there like that. And you can sort of twist it around, you know, like that, and hopefully the wind doesn't come up and blow off the painting while I'm doing it. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. Thank you, Miles. Yeah. So do I use mediums? I do use mediums, but seldom on a demonstration painting. Maybe I should do a demonstration painting where I do use a medium, just to show why I'm using it and under what circumstance. I find that painting this alla prima method, it's kind of so immediate that I don't find a use for mediums, because if I need to lengthen the paint, make it, I just use a little bit of solvent. But for example, on this painting, you can see the sheen off it there. I have used a medium because I started painting that 6 months ago, left it down, and so when I got back to it, I covered the whole thing in a medium just in order to paint on an easier to paint surface. And then, hang on, that's quite heavy, that one. And the idea was, you know, on this kind of painting, it's a much longer process to paint it, because I'm continually adapting the painting, and I still haven't arrived at the story, because it's one of those paintings where I start it and I build on it, and I add things and I take things away until the story hits me. So it's not like a kind of an en plein air painting where everything has to be immediate. This for me is a long drawn out process where it develops as it goes along, and you know, I see that as the culmination of all the other stuff, you know. So everything else is just practice for that kind of stuff. All right, okay. Thank you, Peter. Yeah, were you were there? Were you there watching me the other day, sort of while I was painting it? Yeah. Yes, it's a narrative. That's right, narrative paintings. It's got to, and often I start the painting and I have no idea what the story is going to become. But I mean, it tends to develop the same. I mean, I'm preoccupied by the same things in each painting. They just sort of take slightly different forms. But you know, you can tell across the. I don't tell radically different stories. Some people can. I can't. They always tend to end up being sort of stories about family and you know, relationships and things like that. There's big emotional content in them, even though people read them in different ways, and I try not to direct people too much in the paintings anyway, because I think you've got to allow other people to project onto your painting. I always say a good and successful painting is like a good and successful pop song. All the best ones are kind of a bit slightly abstract, and you know, the message is unclear and the language is unclear sometimes. Like, well, yeah, that's right. So few stories. Is it 7 or something like that? Anyway, but you know, like one of my favourite songs is "Once in a Lifetime" by Talking Heads. You know, because it kind of came out when I was in the right frame of mind, when I was an apprentice, and it just seemed to hit me at the right time, and it seemed to link itself to a book that I was reading at the time, and I still don't know what it's about really, but it's a fantastic bit of art, I think. Yeah, nuanced. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah. All the important stories are very. There are very few ones. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, one day I'll show you that painting and it'll be complete. I mean, the actual, it's set in a place near where I grew up anyway. So. Vladimir Prop. Yeah, I like the Talking Heads, and I think they did some incredible work. But the standout one for me is Once in a Lifetime, and I can never tire of listening to it. It's where it's got everything, you know, everything that a good pop song should have, including that. What's her name? Something Birmingham, wasn't it? The bass player, and she did that. I mean, the bass must have been bigger than her. I mean, how she played it, I don't know, but that opening bass line, absolutely fantastic. A real work of art, I think. Yeah. So, I shall let you get on with your day and your evening. So, I love doing that. That was a good one. You know, and as usual, when I started out painting it, I was thinking, God, you know, I'm going to be able to do this. It's like that for everyone. And in the end, you just paint what you paint, don't you? And you just get on with it. You know, it's there. There's nothing you can do about it, kind of thing. Yeah, it's something Birmingham, was it? Tina, yeah. Why I said Birmingham, it's just like an English city. I would choose anyone. Yeah, Liverpool. Yeah, Tina Weymouth, brilliant. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Oh dear, I'm gonna knock everything over. Yeah, because I'm a kind of a not a failed musician. I don't even think I got to the stage of failing, but I do try, and I realise how hard the whole thing is. You know, so I kind of sing into my chest sometimes in the kitchen, and my middle daughter, when she was 14, came past me, and she said, in the way that 14-year-olds do, says, "You sound bored when you sing, Dad." So that's what I kind of did for my singing career. Although she was probably right as well. Yeah. So look, have a great week. I'll probably do. I might just do a video for how I handle the plein air painting kit business, because I think it would be a useful one for people. Yeah. I'm just reading the comments here. Yeah, I hope it's encouraging, because I really do want to encourage you. There's enough people in the world that will discourage you. We were only talking about that at class today, you know, that you know, these videos that I've been doing, and I get comments from time to time, and they're, you know, 99% are positive, you know, and then I got one, and it said, you are useless. He said, "You are useless. You've got some cheek putting work like that up in public." You know, oh, all right. So I had him killed. So there you go. People will. I don't know what's going on in their heads. You've got to imagine that, you know, it's not a happy place to be. But I think painting should be for everybody. Doesn't, especially as we sort of start entering into a world of artificial intelligence. Flipping hell. Yeah. Don't be. Oils is the easiest medium. This is my opinion. Oils is the most forgiving of them all, because if you make a terrible mistake, you could just wipe it all off and start again. You can't do that with watercolor. You can't do that with acrylics either. You know, you can paint over things, or you can sort of scrap your paper or anything. But oils, it's just really a very forgiving medium, and you can paint really quickly with it too. I mean, what's this been, an hour or something like that? I mean, that's a very fast way of painting, faster than acrylics. I love acrylics, but I always say to people, if you want to finish a painting quickly, do it in oils. If you want to hang a painting quickly, do it in acrylics. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, enjoy it. Yeah, and just give yourself room to mess up. I've got paint all over my hands now. How did I manage that in an artist studio? Listen, oh, oh God, have I cut myself off here? No, hang on. What happened there? Yeah, okay. Listen, everyone have a lovely evening, and I'll see you soon, okay? I have to look into the camera and say that. Enjoy yourselves.